John Watson was one of the most influential psychologists of the 20th century. He was born in South Carolina on January 9th in 1878. He later married Mary Ickes, but had an affair with his lab partner Rosalie Rayner, who he later married.
Watson attended Furman University at age 16. He then later received his doctorate's degree in psychology at the University of Chicago. Later on, he taught psychology at Johns Hopkins University.
Watson specialized in behavioral psychology, with an emphasis in generalization of fear and classical conditioning. He also said that people are analyzed more by their external actions and not on their thoughts and feelings. He also wanted people to treat children like adults and not baby them. He's most famous for his dozen healthy infants quote, which states, "Give me a dozen healthy infants, well-formed, in my own specified world to bring them up, and I'll guarantee to take any one at random and train him to become any type of specialist I might select. Doctor, lawyer, artist, regardless of his talents, penchants, tendencies, abilities, vocations, and race of his ancestors."
Watson decided to use the idea of classical conditioning to try and initiate a fear response in a child, and this is when the little Albert experiment was created. Watson sat Albert on the floor and showed him objects and animals like rats, rabbits, and masks. Albert showed no fear response towards the objects, so Watson then introduced a metal pipe which he banged whenever he was near the objects. This, after a while, conditioned a fear response in him. The loud noise was the unconditioned stimulus, and the fear was the unconditioned response. The rat, which was the neutral stimulus, was then paired with the loud noise, the unconditioned stimulus, and this resulted in fear, which was the unconditioned response. The rat then becomes the conditioned stimulus after some time, which then creates a conditioned response, which is the fear whenever the rat is near him.
In response to his observation, Watson and other early behaviorists believed that controlled laboratory studies were the most effective way to study learning. Watson helped define the study of behavior and emphasized the importance of learning and the environmental influences in human development.
Behaviorism deals with the consequences of behavior and how those behaviors can be rewarded or punished. For example, in the classroom, a reward would consist of some sort of praise, like a sticker, treats, or food. Punishment would consist of no playtime, extra chores, or taking away items. These are some of the key consequences of behavior. Reward reinforcements can strengthen behaviors or increase the behavior. For example, giving praise promotes good behavior. Punishment's goal is to decrease the behavior or likelihood of it happening again. For example, if the child is acting out, they will get extra work or they will not get recess time.
Given Watson's relatively short academic career, his lasting contributions in the areas of learning, psychological methods, and behaviorism are remarkable. His book, Psychological Care of the Infant and Child, was very popular, advocating a rather detached approach to parenting, with few displays of affection, such as kissing and hugging of children. Therefore, we again need to treat children more like adults and less like babies. Watson's study is very valuable to psychology as a whole because it creates a large part of the behaviorist approach, and it could be also used to explain why some people act a certain way. This study is generally presented as an influential work that provided evidence that even complex behaviors, such as emotions, could be learned through manipulation of one's environment.
This study has had a large amount of criticism because of ethical issues. Because Watson is teaching a child to be scared of harmless objects, which means the child is experiencing physical and mental harm. Also, Albert never was unconditioned, which means that Watson allowed him to leave with all the classical conditioning still intact, which may have affected him his whole life. Another critique could be that Albert could never give consent because he was a child, and this could imply that Watson was wrong to take advantage of the fact that he could not tell people that he did not want to be involved with the study or that he wanted to withdraw.